Hello and welcome to Community Report. I am Dari Ido. Happy New Year. In 2022, we brought you stories of how members of different communities built, starting from a small place. From businesses, shelter to humanitarian work, communities across the country have one unique story or the other to tell. On this episode of the program, we have put together some of the stories where people go beyond living together to building stronger and more friendly communities. Oshodi is one of the most unlikely places to teach chess, but a young Nigerian, Tunde Onokoya, who is taking the game to impoverished communities, is rewriting that narrative. On this episode of the program, we spent time with these underprivileged children under the bridge here in Oshodi to tell the story of how they have been handed new opportunities to lead a better life.
Oshodi, one of the most popular places in Lagos. Ever busy. Then if you are the infamous on the bridge, expectedly the ambient sound may go from trading activities to cast. But this is not particularly a story about Oshodi. It is about the people. For so many years, the bridges have been a place of shelter for some people, including children. A full 1/3 of Nigerian children are not in school. 1 in 5 out of school children in the world is a Nigerian. Even though primary education is officially free and compulsory, about 10.5 million of the country's children aged 5 to 14 years are not in school. Only 61% of 6 to 11 years olds regularly attend primary school, and only 35.6% of children aged 36 to 59 months receive early childhood education. These children in Oshodi are not only out of school, they also risk being introduced to drugs and all sorts of vices early in life.
Bye.
Now, from this board game, this group of boys are learning critical thinking and gradually making their way back to school.
Most money, stop, double pond, Abi, Koda. Kí ni sẹ́wọ̀n lè ṣe mẹ́? Fẹ́lẹ̀ ìjẹ́. Fọpọlọta. Now, ọmọ bá yẹn play rẹ̀ kọ̀ọ̀kan sí i. So, bọ́yìn bá yẹn play yẹn, ronú kó tó gbé, má gbé kó tó ronú. Oya, shake hands and start. Opening first.
Tunde Onokoya is the man behind the big idea. He's moved from slum to slum, teaching chess to help underprivileged children.
Oshodi under bridge is a different kind of story entirely, different from any kind of slum. But you chose this place.
Yes. Well, it's a combination of several things, and it all started sometime last year in July when I was driving past this vicinity, and two things happened, right? I was stuck in traffic, and a little boy, one of the little boys, they just walked up to my car and was begging for money, and I didn't have any money, right? So I was just begging and begging and begging. Eventually, the traffic cleared and I moved on to the next car. And I couldn't stop thinking about that boy on my way, that this boy someday is going to lose that childhood innocence, right? And end up being that Agbero that we now fear. That Agbero that will not beg you is going to bring out a gun or a knife, and that thing he didn't get while begging, he'll get it through violence, right? So I wanted to understand why nobody was paying attention, because it was obviously like something that affected society adversely. Then we now complain only when they have become that area boy, but then we miss out on that, on their journey, of evolving from losing their innocence to becoming that area boy that will now harm people, that will now become political tools and all of that. So we've been doing this for 3 to 4 years now, and I said, let us do a new project. But this time around, it's not like our typical slums project, but this time there are some risks involved, some security risks involved. And I told them, and they were like, are you crazy? Oshodi Bridge is one of the most dangerous places you can ever go in this country. And I said, okay, I'm crazy, but let's go. Let us just go. Right? And we went there, and on that day, we didn't see a lot of children. We just saw some of these area boys. They were smoking under this bridge. And we called them, and we told them that we wanted to be a part of them for the next 1 month. And they said, how? What does that mean? Because they were already like, they wanted to collect money from us or collect my phone. And I was like, no. I'm not here to take pictures of you. I just want to be a part of you guys for 1 month. Right? I want to teach the children something. They didn't know that they had never seen a church before. I just said I wanted to teach the children something. And they're like, alright, no wahala. What do they need to do? So we gave them roles and responsibility. And that was something revolutionary.
Sports, fashion, entertainment, politics, Surulere blends them all together to make an attractive neighborhood. Located on Lagos mainland, Surulere, a Yoruba word which literally translates to patience, is profitable, plays host to key federal and state assets. The first of those assets that comes to mind is the National Stadium. Built in 1972, the sporting facility has a 55,000 capacity. The National Stadium has seen the finest talents and events. It has also been a source of recreation for its immediate community.
Surulere is known for so many things. But firstly, Surulere is called Sports City. That's the only local government, I think in Nigeria, not even Lagos State, that you see both young and old. When it comes to weekend, everybody comes out to work out, exercise, and thank God we have like 2 stadiums here, and it's helping a lot of us.
Surulere also houses the Teslim Balogun Stadium, a facility used mainly for football matches with over 24,000 seating capacity. One of the iconic places in Surulere is the National Art Theatre. Built in 1976, the National Theatre was established for the preservation, presentation, and promotion of arts and culture in Nigeria. The edifice, shaped like a military cap, sits on 23,000 square meters. The facility is a community on its own. The structure is being revamped in a new drive to make it a creative hub for film, fashion, music, and information technology. The Lagos nightlife scene is probably one of the most attractive features of the ever-busy city, and with the number of bars, clubs and lounges in Surulere alone, one could tell that entertainment here is their lifestyle. We stopped by at Akerele, another neighborhood in Surulere where textiles and fabrics vendors spread across the street.
We have the one they make in Abeokuta, and we have the one we make here.
Omomi pick and makes and sells African fabrics on these streets, a business she talks about with passion.
If you want to do different type of batik, you see it in Surulere.
This is the seal of Oyo State in southwest Nigeria, and one of the key features of the seal is the agricultural endowment. An Another feature that catches the eyeball is the talking drum, gong gong, and the beaded god rattle, shekere. Gong gong is an hourglass-shaped drum that produces sound to mimic human speech. The drum talks in a tone only those who have depth of the language can decipher. Made from wood, leather, cowrie shells, and other materials, the drum ranges in size and sound. The use of talking drum as a form of communication was noticed by Europeans in the first half of the 18th century, where detailed messages could be sent from one village to another. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Professor David Awurawa of History and Strategic Studies from the University of Lagos is our guide into historical perspectives of the structure and culture that gave birth to this musical instrument.
The Oyo Kingdom, of course, a Yoruba kingdom, according to various traditions, and as documented by various scholars, notably Professor Kinjogbi and the rest of them. The Oyo Kingdom, the origins are traced to migrations from Ile-Ife, where the Yoruba, the cradle of the Yoruba, the oral sources indicate that at some point when the population of the Yoruba grew, in Ife and its environs, somehow the Yoruba states, the Oyo Kingdom, and even some others like Benin, had this structure where, oral information, which we refer to as oral tradition, that is, which contains information regarding the culture of the people, the founding of the kingdom, the evolution, migration, and their history, handed over from one generation to another by word of mouth, such that you have a group of people who are custodians of the culture and the history. And as they grow old, they transmit information to another generation such that the history is not lost. The fact that the talking drum became useful in many things, it was used to talk, to pass on message, to entertain and all that, made it now popular, adopted by several other groups among, in addition to the Oyo. So you have it virtually across, Yoruba land.
The drum is held under one arm and played by another with a curved stick. To adjust the pitch, a drummer is expected to squeeze the drum under the arm while playing. The leather cords on the side can be used to adjust the tones. Bells and a circle of beeswax on the drum heads produce even more musical variation, and that is the beauty of this instrument. Playing the talking drum is not as easy as it sounds. It takes a skilled drummer to get the desired sound.
My name is Olusoji Ojemakinde, popularly known as Ayiki. So I started playing this drum since I think when I was 21. That was when this particular drum professionally. So, but I've been playing one drum or the other since I was 3. So I grew up with my grandmother, and she loves singing. So mostly I've always been playing Awotangana, Awibo Ayo. I've been playing at plates, and one of these days, and she just said that you cannot be breaking my plate like this. So she bought me a shekere. And I was playing each time she's singing. She sings a lot. So, and anytime she sings, I must play something. So she had to buy shekere. Later she bought agogo, and from there I started. So before I was 16, I was already playing like 6 kind of African drums, akuba, agogo, shekere, like that. If you see a skilled drummer, especially in Oyo, you will fall in love. There is no way. So somehow I've seen Batab drummers, I've seen during the Google Festival, they do it a lot. During that 7 days, there is massive drumming. So when you hear them from afar, and when I never believed that when I was there, but until now that I actually researched into it, when they are playing is a particular kind of drum, you know what that thing is meant for. So somehow very early in the morning when we hear some drums, it's either they are in chief house or they went to the king's house or they are announcing something early in the morning. Maybe somebody passed the previous day, so they announce it with drum in different morning. You know, when it's festival period, when you hear Ilu Egun, you know it's Ilu Egun. It's always very energetic.
From Uganda, Kenya, Jamaica, Nigeria, there have been viral videos of children living in slums showing great deal of talent. Fun to watch, but their backstories are not as favorable as their beautiful dance steps and their happy faces. Slum dwellers' aspirations are threatened by the harsh realities their environment presents.
The reason why we are here is to honor Yvette Hardy. Did you know that Yvette Hardy is a community builder and a servant leader? Really? Yes!
In the case of gifted steppers, poetry, dance, acting, and other forms of art are the vehicles used to drive the change and rewrite their stories.
Wow! That is to say, Yvette Hardy is a theater maker. Cha cha cha! Yvette Hardy, one. Hey! Musa, 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 Yvette Hardy. Musa! Yvette Hardy.
Many of the children who were picked up roaming the streets are leading a different life than they knew it.
I'm a dancer. I'm using the art to reach out to less privileged children.
Omar Harrison, a professional dance artist, is the brain behind the idea, providing the children with shelter, food, clothing, and most importantly, education.
The reason why I started this foundation, it's my story, how the art has helped my life.
Omar's community work is now suffering a setback. She's forced to take the children back to their parents.
Before, in our house in Ikorodu, they were all going to school. All of them in private school. The ones in primary school attend the particular school, New Star. Those in secondary school attend particular school, First Fruit College. Then suddenly the house we are renting is a rented apartment. Got sold. The landlady sold the house. You know, it's a property, so she sold it. She did not inform us. I had to send the children back to where they came from. Where were you going to?
Some of the children are back to the streets, and the National Arts Theatre, a familiar part of their neighborhood, is where they come to while away time.
See how you look.
We caught up with Silas and Daniel. They are leading us back to see their parents at a place called White Sand. We walked for about 10 minutes away from the National Theatre through the ever-busy bridge at Ijorabadia. As we walked through the marshy ground, greeted with a thick smoke and the filth coming from the makeshift structures built with plants and tarpaulin, the neighborhood reveals itself even more. It's a small reunion. Many of the children are seeing their guardian for the first time since the situation that separated them. White Sand community, located in Ijorabadia, an area of Lagos, is an informal settlement overcrowded with poor water sanitation. Limited access to basic health care and education are common features of this neighborhood. Patience John lives here with her 3 daughters who are now back to the neighborhood.
I cannot continue staying in this place. To eat is wala. I was on my sign. Everything was hard. So one day I go to my church. So I saw Auntie Oma. She called me. She said that where is my mom? And I took her to my mom. From there, she bring me to Gifted Steppers. So from there, she have been taking care of me, clothing me, feeding me, taking me to school. So look at us now. We are in Waisa. We are not doing anything. We are not reading. We don't know what we eat this morning. So before we eat, take time.
Bright and early, we are setting out at Falomo Jetty. But first, a quick chat with the men that will pilot the boat from here to Badagry on the estimated time of arrival, the safety of the boat, and what to expect. We are up on the boat and ready to go. And as we travel along the waterways through the back end of the city, the commercial nature of Lagos reveals itself even more. After traveling for an hour or thereabout, we arrived at Badagry. We travel along the creek where the beautiful tall palm trees cohabit, providing canopy for the animals and other natural habitats of the humid environment.
Now we are at Idale, okay, in Badagry area. Hundreds of years ago, the same way the boat, okay, taking the women to the other side of this swamp, was the same way the ancestors around here put all the clothes on their head and their bags, and they walk through this water, this same path, and they walk through to get to where they're going to. So when they get to the other side, they now dress up to wherever they are going to. So what we are seeing today is very historical, and people need to even know about it.
From Idale, we move to Topo Island, and it's another boat journey. This island is called the seedbed of faith in Nigeria. The journey started for the missionaries here in the 1870s.
These are the neck locks. I need someone that we can, it's for the neck. Okay.
This thing is heavy. It's heavy.
Now, the unfortunate part of it is that they don't just put it around their neck, on the neck of the enslaved persons like this. They also put the padlock. They lock it from here. Now just imagine, sir, you putting this on. Imagine it's 400 years ago and you've not even eaten maybe for 2 days. Now, this moment, can you just tell us what you think our ancestors went through?
Pain.
Pain. So you mean you have pains around your neck right now?
Yes, and it's heavy.
It is heavy. Okay, I see. That's why you are holding it, to prevent the weight.
The
They may not understand what you are going through, but it was a very terrible time. And the ancestors are chained together on a single fire. They are chained together on a single fire. So a neck lock, a chain, okay, a single chain like this may have maybe 50 neck locks, may have maybe 20 neck locks or more. Because when they get to the point of no return, they all walk on the slave route on a single file. The chain, of course, the neck lock is already on their neck. The chain, the hands, the ankle, and while walking on the slave route, they drag their feet, and there's usually someone behind them with the horse whip. They dealt with them psychologically.
And that's our show for today, everyone. If you miss any part of it, you can watch it on our YouTube channel. You can also follow the conversation on our social media platforms displayed on the screen. Thank you very much for watching. I am Dare Ido. See you next time, and bye for now.